Is 10 a.m. to noon. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome into the weekend Sports Buzz, Sunday, October 7th. Got a good one lined up for you all today. Myself, Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick, always 10 to noon Sundays. 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. Let's get it started early, fans. Let's get you the calls in today. Kentucky fans, if you all want to talk about yesterday's game, the issues with the quarterback, anything, 384-1450. Louisville got your off week was this week. If you want to call in and talk about, your 5-0 start, your remaining 7 games, the tougher stretch of your schedule, next weekend at Pittsburgh. We'll have our man Mark Blankenbaker out there. So call in, Kentucky Louisville, 384-1450, or shoot us a text, the Lotus Gunworks text line, 414-1450. Before we get into all this sports talk and all this shenanigans, Cincinnati Reds, awesome game last night. We went out last night, I guess this is the final day of the weekend of the official 1450 birthday Binger Bash. It started on Thursday night. The Freak Renshaw was in town. He did their show, out on Dixie Highway at BJ's, and along with Nick Coffey and inside the press box. And Saints on Friday with Nick and JD inside the press box. Yesterday, we were all out at Glen Mary Country Club in the morning for benefiting the Kentucky ALS Association. Jerry Scramble. That was a good event. I'm glad everybody came out. I hope John, those weekend golf guys, shot a good score later in the afternoon. And then last night, Kelly, we had ourselves a little event. The brewery, the birthday bash brewery last night. 70s music only.
Had a great time at the brewery last night. The brewery, who was open for years and then went under some ownership changes. And recently, the original ownership, I believe, came back, and the brewery is back in business. And we were able to have a great time last night. Dugan had, a lot of the 1450 people out there, along with, I saw Jeff Mason was there. Yeah. Who else from the 14? Trevor Bacon-Kelsey.
Trevor Bacon-Kelsey
was there. Had a great time.
A lot of Dugan's friends were there. A lot of the listeners to the, all the shows were there. We met some good people. It was fun. A lot of dancing going on. A lot of raving.
Big party time last night.
Big party time. We were watching the Reds game. There were some Reds fans around us. So we're going to talk about that for sure today. But just a party in general. I couldn't have had a better time with a group of people I've never met.
Yeah, they were some fun-loving people. It was they're a little bit older than us, but they were having a great time. A lot of like you said, a lot of Reds fans. We got to see a pretty dramatic way for the Reds to win the first game of the 2012 playoffs for them. You want to get into that a little bit?
Sorry, excuse me. I was reading a little bit.
Johnny Cueto, our ace, started.
Yeah.
What was it? 8 pitches in.
8 pitches.
He gets hurt. He's out. Coaching staff does something very interesting. They immediately begin warming up Sam LeCure and Matt Latos.
Yes.
Then they do something interesting, which is what I thought is, Sam LeCure goes out, pitches. He actually does well. What's he do? 2 innings?
2 innings. I don't know if he gave up a hit. He came in, obviously, for Cueto, got finished that inning.
I don't have the box score in front of me, but he had a good outing. You can't complain when it was announced that LeCure was coming out. I'll be honest.
He got the win, Kelly. So I will say that
we were nervous. I was doubting the decision to put LeCure in.
What also confused me,
that's what I was getting to.
First off was
a little mystery action going on.
Mystery action. Homer Bailey pitched hit casually. I don't know why. Maybe it was they were trying to throw off the Giants, thinking maybe Homer's going to come in and pitch. But Homer's generally known as a guy that needs a lot of warm-up time.
That's what I was saying. I said
he
to
needs
Tyler,
that guy.
He needs an hour. Yeah. I think I heard maybe 2 hours of total stretching his arm out. He's the type guy who goes into games, and when he pitched the no-hitter recently, they said that in the 8th and 9th inning, he was throwing it faster than he had been all game. So he's one of those real long outing type game or
Verlander type that can just continually throw at the top of his speed
and even increase the speed. Yeah, so he takes a long time to warm up, and out of nowhere, he was pinch hitting. It must have been a deceptive act by the coaching staff. I don't know. I'll be honest, I haven't really read anything that explains that. But in hindsight, it looks pretty genius.
Yeah,
it worked out.
I don't care what anything. Even if that didn't work out, we won. the Reds won, and that's all I care about. 5-1. They had some tack on in the final inning. MVP of last night, Brandon Phillips. Great performance. He started out early. We're sitting there like biting our nails, wondering when are we gonna bite Kane. Kane started out that first inning. He wasn't really he couldn't control much, which that's always good considering Kane is one of the best pitchers in MLB.
I was assuming we were going to lose last night.
I was kind of on the same fence as you. Just going into San Fran, great fans up there, packed house. I was kind of nervous, especially once Cueto went down. But then Brandon Phillips, top of the third inning, blast, 2-run blast, get him on the board. Next inning, another blast. Jay Bruce, 430-foot bomb, I believe, Kelly. It wasn't just a little Great American Small Park home run that they like to make fun of us about. Yeah. It was a giant, it was a, what's their field called? I was about to say Comiskey Park. It's the Bay.
Yeah, that's where they had all the
I can't remember. Anyways, but it was a bomb there, deep field. It's definitely a pitcher's park. San Fran came out in the 6th. They got one. But the Reds put 2 more up on. They did get one in the 9th. No big deal there. 5-2. Reds are victorious. Kelly, 1-0. Best of 5.
Huge. I mean, you can't say enough about how much this win means to the series. It's a 5-game series. They play again tonight at 9:37. Once again on the West Coast in San Francisco. Bronson Arroyo's pitching tonight. I mean, they stole one because it's 2 in San Francisco, 3 in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. And I said that, if they steal one of the first 2 games, I mean, you got to say that the Reds have the dramatic odds in their favor to win the series. So it's huge. We'll see how Bronson can do tonight.
I'm excited for Bronson. I know we talked about it last night a little bit. I was like, I kind of wanted Bronson to just maybe be that game 1 starter just because of his experience. He can maybe throw off the offense. Obviously, where everything worked out, we don't need to go back to that. But I'm excited for Bronson being in the position he is to go up 2-0 on the road, to come back to Cincinnati. I mean, if you go up 2-0 with 3 at home, I mean, Kelly, you're going to round 2.
Yeah, I mean, they got to win 2 more games. You got 4 more games to win 2. I mean, it's as simple as that. One of the things that we didn't really talk about, I was impressed with, is that Matt Latos. I know he wasn't credited with the win, but I was impressed with how he came out. He did give up a run. Let's see here. But I liked it. At the drop of a hat, he brought his game face. He was ready to go in, pitch 4 innings. He allowed 4 hits, walked 1 batter, gave up 1 earned run. I like Latos. I like this pitching staff. I like that we can come out. Our ace appears to get hurt. Everything looks like it's going to hell in a handbasket. I was panicking,
freaking out. I was opening my next Bud Light. I was really nervous. I was thinking about this. Look back to 2010. We made it. I was excited to be there. We got swept. We got no hit. I was okay. I wasn't too mad. I really wasn't because look, first time we've been to playoffs in years. It really was. 99, we had that 1-game playoff with the Mets. They, obviously got knocked out then. Before that, it was 95, if I'm correct. Maybe even 1990.
Did you say 99 in the strikeout shortened? Or in the
1-game playoff. I'm not really counting that
against the Mets. Okay,
I'm talking about the true playoffs.
I think it was 90.
It might have been the World Series year, and if you're correct, what you told me last night, that was their first playoff win, Kelly, since they won the World Series.
I need to check that out, but I mean, regardless, 2 years ago, made the playoffs, were eliminated, got smoked, lit up by the Phillies. Okay with it. This is a different year.
Yeah.
The Reds are tied for the best record in baseball.
They're the best team in baseball, in my opinion. I've said it all year.
You can't really argue with that after a performance last night.
Can't. 5-2, first round?
Call in, 502-384-1450. Tell us, are we crazy? The fact that the Reds rebounded.
We're kind of crazy.
And we're a little crazy last night. I mean, the fact that the Reds were a little completely resilient last night, their ace gets hurt.
And they come out, a guy who's expected to start game 3 comes in the 3rd inning, 4th inning, and just shuts him down, basically.
No pressure. Everybody was smiling.
I know I've made fun of Matt Latos a lot.
Matt Latos is a
stud.
He is super
valuable.
valuable.
You ever think I'd say that?
I did.
I'm still thinking down the road that trade could be sketchy. But I'm fine with it because why Matt Latos is going to be with the Cincinnati Reds for years down the road, and I'm excited about that.
It is not every day that you can acquire
a
true stud who is only – he's born in 87, so he's your age?
He's my age, 25.
He's 25. So, I mean, he's a 25-year-old stud. He's a big physical guy who can obviously do well despite throwing a career high in innings, I believe.
I believe most of the pitchers on the staff
194 and then 209 this year. So, I mean, despite the career high in innings, Latos looked unfazed by coming in. He was cool as a
No
cucumber.
fatigue.
He comes in, throws 4 innings of great pitching. I love it.
He's out. He's from California area. He's out west his whole early career for the Padres, right? Am I right?
Yep,
For the Padres. And he's played the Giants a lot. He's they know to him. They know who Matt Latos is, and he knows them. And he came out and he pitched great. I just got the little text in from Brad Steen here, the Reds KentuckySports.co Reds rap beat writer. 1995 was the last time they won a game. That's what I thought.
Which makes sense. I know in '95 I have a poster hanging at home.
Was that the A's?
I don't know who they played.
No, they beat the A's in the World Series.
But I have a poster of Barry Larkin. That was the year Barry Larkin won the NL MVP. I think he did 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, maybe something like that. So that was a big year for the Reds. Regardless, I mean, this is big. That the Reds look like they're on the verge of getting to the next round is huge. If it doesn't pan out, obviously it'd be a big disappointment for this first round. But at this time, I don't think there's any reason that a Reds fan should not be over the top excited. I'm happy as hell.
Remember months ago, Kelly, when we were talking, we brought Lance on a long while ago, Lance McAllister, and you were nervous about this offense.
I was nervous about
the
offense.
You were nervous about this team.
I was nervous about the offense before the game last night. Mm-hmm. I was nervous that Matt Cain was going to come in and shut us down.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
He looked nervous. He really did. That first inning, He hit a perfect first inning, but it was an uncontrolled perfect first inning in what I saw. And right then and there, I knew that Kane was not on his A game, which the Reds needed that.
Which is rare. Because that guy is I'm
looking at the Reds thing right here, Kelly. And I'll answer this question. This is their question from the Cincinnati Reds. Getting Game 1 NLDS win was blank. Fill it out. Was huge. Great. Just what we needed. That's what everybody's answering. There's 3,000 comments on here, and it's posted about an hour
That's
ago.
what it was.
Reds fans are hyped.
Just what we needed. I mean, as far as sentiment within the Reds fandom, I mean, you got to be happy today. You have to be
super happy.
Over the top. Reds won. Had they not won, there really wouldn't have been a ton of reason to be super pessimistic. It's a road game. Especially considering Johnny Cueto got hurt. But what you told me last night was that Cueto's now probably going to start the third game.
He is. I got home last night, and my roommate, who was, actually paying attention to the what was going on other than the game, and he said that, his back spasms for Cueto, and it's looking like he's going to start Game 3. That's great. Latos came in, he wasn't on short rest already. Came in, pitched well. He won't be able to go Game 3, so you have Bronson going tonight. Is it tonight or is it tomorrow?
It's tonight, 9:37 p.m., just as big as last night. I was actually just given a message, and Brad Steen was pointing out, remember, Tyler, when you weren't so big on
I think I just said that like 5 minutes ago.
You acknowledged it. Tyler has came out, and
I still think the trade could be a split trade in 3 years.
If y'all,
but I don't care about that. That's dead. That's not anymore. I'm about the playoffs. About the playoffs. It's all about the playoffs. 384-1450. Please give us a shout. We are always, like you said, presented by livingforless.org, Kelly. Smart shoppers. If you're getting out in the Louisville area, get on livingforless.org. They have great 50% off deals, 75% off deals, Wix Pizzas, Roosters. Golfing is getting, it's getting a little chilly out there. You can still get on the links. We were out there yesterday, like I said, at Glen Mary Country Club for Jerry Scramble. There's half off deals. Get on there, livingforless.org. You will like it. And, of course, you can send us text now. All the shows, 1450 lineup. The Lotus Gunworks text line, 414-1450. Shoot us a text. It'll go straight to the Adam the intern. He likes video games. If you want to talk video games, you can shoot him a text. Do what you got to do. Let's get to that first break, Kelly. Maybe we'll come back talk a little bit more of this birthday bash. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk Kentucky, more Reds, everything.
Call us.
The Weekend Sports Buzz.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. I'm Kelly Patrick. This is Tyler Floyd. Talking some Reds baseball this morning. This segment is brought to you by Franklin Taxes and Accounting Services residents and business owners nationwide. We offer financial planning, tax preparation services, estate planning, LLC and corporation setup, and forensic auditing. We can help any corporation or small business with payroll, monthly financials, bookkeeping, and much more. We are located in southern Indiana at 611 Watt Street, Jeffersonville. Contact our friendly and dedicated CPA, Marcy Franklin, who has over 15 years of experience at 502-424-1179, or check out our website, franklintaxes.com, for further information. We are committed to providing expert advice and meeting every client's individual needs. We want to thank Marcy and Franklin Taxes and Accounting for helping us out, helping us be on the air today.
Mm-hmm.
They're big parts of the KFFSC fantasy football, which we will have Farrell on today at 11 to talk a little fantasy football. What do we want to talk about now? Still some more Reds? We still talk Reds? I can talk Reds all day.
We could talk Reds for 16 hours. Let's get on the college football talk for a minute here. Let's break down. We'll go over the scoreboard from yesterday, Kelly. USC was victorious, ranked team. There were some upsets, though. 3, 4, and 5 lost, Kelly. Did you notice this when you got home? No,
I didn't check that out.
Did you just face plant on the bed?
I did not just face plant. I was
very Oregon walked away easily victory over Washington in a late night game, but Florida State late touchdown by who? North Carolina State, Kelly, your Belk Bowl champions, took down Florida State, number 3 team in the nation, 17-16. I hear that late touchdown was a stunner. I'm getting a lot of information from my sources. We all got our sources. Georgia. This one, I get 6-5. That's not a major upset. So South Carolina handed it to Georgia at home, 35-7. I did catch some of that game. That early game was ugly. It really was. South Carolina, the fans were into it. They were ready for that game. Florida knocked off LSU. I don't remember the last time LSU lost a game in the regular season. Was it to Kentucky? It may have been. I don't know. 14-6. The Gators. Will Muschamp getting his first big SEC win. Welcome to the SEC, Will. It was a good game, another good game. While we were at the brewery for the birthday bash, Kelly, going on, kind of paying attention to the ending. Geno Smith and his West Virginia crew had new Big 12 entrants. Number 8 beat Texas. Number 11, 48-45 in the Conference of No D. They've never heard of it, but high power offense. You can't be disappointed watching a game like that. And then locally, Notre Dame took down Miami handily. Kentucky, they got beat. Did you watch any of this Kentucky game, Kelly?
I did not.
Of course you didn't. There's really no reason to. You're a Louisville fan. You definitely don't care what's going on. Regardless, though, Kentucky played Mississippi.
I heard Patrick Toles played all right.
27-14 Mississippi State. Jalen Whitlow got to start. True quarterback, true freshman. It was, a slower start, obviously. South Carolina got on the board early. They went up 14-0. Kentucky did come down and score, though. Like you said, Patrick Towles, first college drive, 5 for 5. 71 yards, touchdown. Looked great. Looked like he knew the offense like he's been there for 2 years. I was very impressed with what he did. Comes out next possession, next 2 series, whatever it was, gets hurt, ankle sprain, out for the game. Who knows if it's serious. I'm not for sure. I haven't read much into it. Whitlow comes back in. He does get on the board. He had a nice little touchdown run. From there, just couldn't do it, Kelly. I don't know what to say. I mean, I love Joker. I don't know if he's going to leave. I don't. We talked about this a lot last night at this, and there's some, points of why he should go. Obviously, the numbers, the fans, under 50,000. They announced 49. There's no way in hell there was 49,000 fans there. Maybe they all walked in and just walked out of the turnstile.
Didn't look like that based on the pictures that I saw.
Yeah, the live
could have been that many tickets sold.
Yeah, and maybe 5 people walked through the turnstile once. Multiple times.
My hat really goes off to the Kentucky fans who did go.
I would, for real. I mean,
that's
back
impressive.
your program.
Yeah,
Louisville fans, when you were in the Steve Cragthorpe dump era, backed your program. You had a lot of fans out there still.
Yeah, not as many as when they're winning.
Well, obviously, nobody does.
It's a lot easier to go to those
winning
games.
Sells tickets. That's a given, and that's why, in my opinion, Joker will be gone. Now, he could be around. Why? He does have young talent. Mitch Barnhart is loyal to Joker Phillips. Joker Phillips is loyal to Kentucky. Who are you gonna go get? There's not really. I mean, it's a thin line of what could happen. I would assume it's more obviously. I would say 75-25. Joker's gone. Kelly, are you with me on this? Or are you thinking?
I'm gonna say that they display some more loyalty, which they did with Rich Brooks. I know it was a very different situation. Rich Brooks was dealing with some probation issues, and he wasn't losing this much. His bad years weren't this bad. But I think they're going to stick with Joker at least for another season. I don't know why. The more time that goes by, I'm thinking that.
That's a whole new contract. You can't sign him to 1 year. You can't.
Why
That's
not?
not a deal. That's not a deal. What's that going to show recruits? You just signed your coach to 1-year deal. No, it has to be a multiple year. It has to be at least 3, I would assume, because that's recruiting. You can't hire a coach 1 year. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. 384-1450. I want to hear your all thoughts. I know a lot of people are pissed off like I am, and that's an easy way to just say Joker's out. But there's a lot of people that look more into depth, into the details, and it's going to be tough to get Joker out, in my opinion.
I say if Joker can put together a nice, flashy win against Samford, that you give him a 5 or 7 year contract.
I hate you. You're a joke.
No, but seriously, is that the only game they're going to win the rest of the way? They can end up 2-10.
I don't know. Mississippi State's good. Obviously, they're a good team. They're top 20.
Yeah,
they're
ranked 20th.
Undefeated. Now they beat Auburn. Now they beat Kentucky. They beat a decent Troy team.
Arkansas. I mean, they're still talented.
Arkansas still has talent,
and it's
obviously
at
they're
Arkansas.
Struggling.
They're struggling. I mean, they got.
Did they win yesterday? Did they beat Auburn yesterday?
They're 2-4. Yesterday they beat Auburn.
Okay, so yeah, they're not,
24-7.
It was a home game, like you said. So yeah, it would be tough for them. I'm not too worried about that. But back to injury. Well, I don't know what's going on at Lexington. It's like Louisville basketball all over. Football team. Martavius Nelms went down yesterday with a hamstring injury. Ashley Lowry was out his head again. I guess as quoted by Joker Phillips saying after the game. Patrick Towles obviously went down in the third possession not in the third possession in the series after his touchdown drive. I believe it was the second series with that injury. He said after the game, Patrick Towles, yes, Coach Joker Phillips gave me the opportunity to play, and I want to play. If that wasn't apparent when I came out here and burned my red shirt now, I want to play. This medical red shirt stuff is great if I can't get back on the field, but I want to get back on the field. That was on a question about possibly redshirting. Again, Patrick Towles obviously wants to be there. He's a grew-up Kentucky fan. He looked great. I know a lot of Kentucky fans probably want him on the field, but you got to forget Max Smith is still there. He's hurt. We don't exactly know the extent of how long he could be out. I'm on this Joker train. It's Kelly 1-5 for Kentucky now. It's not getting any easier.
I hate to sound like this type of a fan, but I mean, this is not the most fun thing to talk about, is it?
It's not. That's why I'm struggling to talk.
I appreciate that you're trying to talk about it. If someone wants to talk about it, call us 502-384-1450.
Okay.
Tyler has shown through that last segment, it's not fun to talk about your program is an all-time
But
low.
I can do it.
You can do it.
Because I love Kentucky.
I believe you love Kentucky, and I appreciate the passion.
I back a 1-11 season. Okay?
I appreciate that. It's not near as fun to talk about that as it is, say, we were to maybe shift back to the Reds. Is it?
Shift back to the Reds. The Reds are pretty legit.
I'm reading an art. Is that all right if I do that?
I don't know.
Well, you want to keep going with Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay, well, what else can we talk about with Kentucky football?
I just want to kind of talk about the rest of this. I just want to get your thoughts on what if Kentucky somehow does get it to 4 wins. This is I wouldn't say easy stretch of the schedule. The easier stretch of the schedule with Vanderbilt.
I don't see that. I don't see.
What if Joker got it to 4 to 5 wins? I want to know your standpoint coming from a different fan base.
Yeah, if the remaining games are at Arkansas, Georgia, at Commonwealth, at Missouri,
who's not a tough team at all.
Traditionally, is not an easy team though.
They did lose yesterday, I believe, to Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Okay. Then Vanderbilt, Samford, and then Tennessee.
So the easier stretch of your schedule.
This is.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Florida's gone.
The
Louisville's
easier stretch
gone.
of the schedule is Kent State, Western Kentucky.
I'm not. Well, if you want to go back to those, okay.
You could say. All I'm saying is Kentucky is not a good football team right now, and they're playing a bunch of SEC teams in a row. I don't care how bad those SEC teams are.
Are they going to win one of those games, or is it just going to be Samford?
I don't think so. I think they may win Samford.
So you're thinking 2 wins?
I think they're going to be 2-10.
I mean,
I'm not trying to be
I'm not
negative
Nancy.
You call me a negative Nancy if you want. I'm not trying to be one.
I'm not calling you negative Nancy.
I'm just saying it looks like they're going to go 2-10. And I'm not. I don't mean to laugh at you.
I'm not. I'm close to agreeing with you. Is what I hate to say.
It looks like they're going to be 2-10.
It's looking like if they play this way with all the injuries mounting up, Morgan Newton's going to be the quarterback soon. The way it's looking. I mean, good God, injuries every game. Yeah, Kelly. I hate to say it. 2 wins. If they win 3, they'll beat Tennessee or Vanderbilt somehow.
It could happen. You can always knock off a down Missouri. That's at Missouri. I mean, I just don't really see anything other than Samford. I don't see him going to Tennessee and winning. I don't see them beating Georgia. I don't see them beating next week at Arkansas.
Now, okay.
I just don't see it. I don't see there's any way we can. I'm not trying to be
BCS
sarcastic.
Comes out.
Okay.
I want to ask you this: BCS comes out. Who should be number one, number two? We had some teams a lot. I mean, obviously 1-2 is going to be set. Alabama, Oregon, right?
Yep.
Then it gets sketchy with all these 3, 4, 5 losses. Is LSU still the third team in the nation?
No, they lost. Florida State is.
They lost.
They did. Let's see here. Okay.
3, 4, and 5 all
I'm
lost.
just going down the USA Today poll.
6 is South Carolina.
Georgia.
They lost. Georgia's not ahead of South Carolina, who beat Georgia.
Okay, well.
So is South Carolina moving? Is it Alabama, Oregon, South Carolina? Is that how it's going to roll out in the BCS?
I guess you got to say Steve Spurrier really has them up there.
Is West Virginia going to jump to that 3 spot?
I don't think you.
I don't
think they can jump.
Couple good wins.
They can't jump South Carolina yet.
Why not? They're 2 behind them. Couple good wins.
I think South Carolina is a really good football team. I think they have the best. Call in. Tell me I'm wrong. They have the best
Florida?
running back in the country with Marcus Lattimore. They do.
That's no question.
He's coming off an injury.
Him and Silas Redd are number 1 and 2.
Okay.
USC.
But, I mean, I think with that Clowney guy, and I think that what Spurrier has going on at South Carolina right now is as good as he's had in his era. Well, how long has he been there? I mean, it's about the same as Patino.
Who's that?
Spurrier.
He hasn't been on that.
Regardless,
8 years. He's been there a little bit.
This is the best that Spurrier has had them doing. It shows that my vote will go to South Carolina.
You're going to say, so you're thinking South Carolina will come out. I'm going to go ahead and say it will be probably one of those teams that may have lost, Kelly. Maybe an LSU. They got beat by Florida at home. I think LSU is going to be at 3 spot.
No, despite losing?
Despite losing.
You can't do that.
Yeah, LSU, Florida, not the same division. That loss won't hurt LSU if they could still run the table, make it to the championship. They have to beat Bama to do that.
Why not Florida?
That's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 10, though. South Carolina's ahead of them already. They did beat LSU, though.
There's some good teams out there. And what's interesting is with all these teams losing, let's see who Oregon is going to play the rest of the way.
Notre Dame, number 9 in the nation, beating some teams pretty handily. They're going to be up there. I'd say 5.
Oregon still has to go play at USC. And they have to play
and that's about
against Stanford. They have to play Oregon State. They have to play at California. So, I mean, it's an interesting year in college football, I think. It looks like one of these teams that, if West Virginia runs the table, which they certainly may, that they have a good chance at. You can't really say that they don't deserve to play for the championship.
You can know. I mean, obviously last year, though, you had that opportunity as well, and it didn't pan out. But
this is a different year.
This is a different year.
Assuming that Oregon loses to maybe USC.
I don't think they're going to lose to USC. I don't think USC can compete with Oregon. Honestly, I think Oregon is just way too damn fast. 384-1450. Let's get to that break. We'll come back, talk a little bit more Reds. How about that?
I'm okay with that.
That's what I thought.
I'm okay.
Give us a shout, 384-1450. Check us out on 1450thesportsbuzz.com. A lot of great information on there. Right there at fingertips, Louisville, Kentucky, Western Kentucky. A lot of good stuff going on there, straight from the KentuckySports.co website. We'll be right back. Kelly Patrick and Tyler Wood.
It's the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. Lotus Gun Works text line 414-1450. Give us a shout. We'll have to chat with y'all. We got through the Kentucky talk, Kelly.
Oh, God.
I had to. I mean, if you still want to talk Kentucky, 384-1450. I mean, there is Kentucky stuff going on. Why? This is a big week. Not for the football program. Basketball for both Louisville and Kentucky gets going this week, Kelly. This upcoming Friday, Big Blue Madness. I believe Louisville's scrimmage
is on Saturday.
It's on Saturday.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. There you go.
I'll be in attendance.
Will you?
Yep.
You and the other 300? There's going to be more recruits, top 10 recruits at Kentucky's Big Blue Madness than there are going to be people at Louisville's practice. What do you got to think about that?
If that makes you feel better after the Kentucky football segment, I can go with that. It obviously does.
It helped me.
Yeah, it cleared you up. I mean, that's okay. You know, I saw some Facebook statuses recently. I'm not going to name names, but, I saw someone said, Coach Calipari has signed more top 5 recruits in the last 24 hours than Pitino has
in 12 years.
11 or 12 years since he's been at Louisville.
Yeah.
If you guys, during
20
football
twins. Twins. Adam, do we have the Twins commitment? Can we, even if it's, a little choppy or something, let's pull up the Harrison Twins committee into Kentucky so Kelly can hear it.
therapy?
Well, we just sat down one night and just decided that we just wanted to.
I think that's a little too far.
We want to win, and knew we could win.
We'll try to get. We're on the old YouTube thing, trying to get it exactly to where the commitment is. But yeah, we'll get that pulled up. The Harris twins did commit to Kentucky over the weekend. Kelly, I wanted to get
Will you be attending college?
Here we go.
For the next 4 years, we'll be attending the University of Kentucky.
Yeah! Woo! C-A-T-S. Yeah, great. It was awesome. Obviously, the two kids, twins in Houston, out in Texas, Kelly. It makes me happy to hear that.
It
top
should.
5 recruits in one day. It's huge. Now, I asked this to Mark yesterday. I had a conversation with Nick Coffey over Thursday or Friday night about this. Does this put more pressure on Rick Pitino to win this year, to win that title this year, knowing what Kentucky has this year, what Louisville's expectations are, and what Kentucky already obviously has coming in to next year? Mm-hmm. Does it put the pressure to win that title, bring it in? Because he says it is. Mark believes it's Final Four or bust. Mm-hmm. Are you? I don't think you're more of a lenient type.
I'm more of a, if you bring a top level package or type production to Louisville, then you should be evaluated solely on that. You shouldn't be compared to what's going on down the road.
It's the way it is.
Okay, if you want to compare it, go for it. If you want to be...
It's not comparing. It's what you're doing against your rival 60 miles east, just like Duke and UNC 6 miles apart.
I can't argue with that. Is there a lot of pressure on this team for Louisville this season with Siva's senior
year? Everybody knows that.
With Shane back, with Wayne healthy. Yeah, there's a lot of expectations on the basketball program.
Is it Final Four bust? I think it is. It is to me for Louisville.
Well,
it is.
I'm glad that you've
the best team Pitino's had at Louisville preseason, easily. The best team Louisville's had. Number one, Dick Vitale actually has Louisville preseason number 1. Mm-hmm. Well, Sporting News 1-2 with Indiana, Kentucky 4. Louisville's obviously a top 2 team.
Mm-hmm. If they made it to the Elite Eight and then they left, and I could say, well, Pitino's brought, what would it be then? Out of his 12 years, at that point, it would be 5 or 6 teams to the Elite Eight.
If that's fun.
Okay, I'm just saying, it's tough to really be too... I'm not going to be saying fire Pitino. Will a lot of our fan base be saying that? Sure.
Yes.
And that's the nature of high expectations at a big program where you pay a coach as much as you're paying Pitino, which I believe he's the number 2 overall paid coach in college basketball.
I believe he is.
That goes with the territory, Rick. I mean, if you're going to get paid that much,
you're still beating.
It doesn't matter if you're in the New York market, like when he, or the Boston market, like when he was with the Celtics, or whatever market you're in. If you get paid that much and you have this much of type of resources for a program that Louisville has, expectations are very high. A certain portion of the fan base is going to want you out if you don't get a title.
So what you're telling me is you're accepting an Elite Eight this year with the team that's coming with the Final Four you just got off of.
I'm not going to suggest that Pitino should be fired.
I didn't ask you that.
Okay.
I asked you, is it Final Four or bust? I think it is.
Okay.
I would think most Louisville fans 3 or 4, 14,
huge
50.
expectations this year for the basketball team. I'm fine with that. I think they have a legitimate chance. No, I don't think it's Final Four or bust. What's your definition of bust? Define that for me.
Not a good season. It's a bust at the end. You should have did more.
Where someone says, hey, Louisville basketball, and I just go, I don't want to talk about that. They only made the Elite Eight.
No, not anything. You can talk about it.
Then define bust for me a little more,
Tyler. You didn't do what you should have did. Like John Wall's year. That was a bust.
Underperformed. Okay.
Underperformed. Bust.
Okay. Well, I can go with that. This was a talented team, and they didn't fulfill their potential. I'm fine with that.
It is. I am too. I don't know. It's going to be a heated room, from here out. We got a lot of Louisville football. We're going to talk Louisville football in the second hour after Farrell Elliott at 11. But we're getting basketball coming up, too, with this Bermuda Triangle of Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be stupid. There's going to be fists flying.
Going to be a great season all around for this area with Duke and North Carolina seemingly kind of going.
Kentucky plays Duke this year. I cannot wait to put it on little Coach K. Oh, my goodness. Let's get to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline, talk to a guy who is from that area. Carolina Steve, what's up?
For the first thing, there's no coach in any college sport that should make more than Nick Saban. He's the best college coach of any sport in the nation right now.
I totally agree with you. If anybody disagrees, I don't know who you're going to compete. Him in the football world, in the sports world, yes, totally. I'm right there with you, Carolina.
Okay, now, yesterday, y'all were talking about those. Y'all didn't realize that Florida State had lost 4 of their last 6 games when they had gone to Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh.
Yeah, that was surprising to me, Carolina. I did not see this game. I didn't see the final touchdown. I was explained that it was a very late touchdown to pull that out. Is NC State as good as that Belt Bowl championship, Carolina?
Yes, they are. Gleaton took them down the field 3 times. He converted 4th down in that drive, including the winning touchdown. Yeah,
that's very impressive by them.
He's very good. The reason you didn't know it, there was an ex-Florida State coach at the time there that did a lot of those in Chuckamata. So that's why. But the games I loved were both from the state of South Carolina yesterday.
The South Carolina put it on Georgia, Carolina.
Yeah, and the thing about it, the 2 best ways for teams to come out are in the state of South Carolina. Of course, at Clemson, they run down the hill and touch Howard's Rock. At South Carolina, they come out to Ric Flair's theme song.
That is awesome. That makes me. They changed it up because I know last year they had something else going on. That's awesome. I wish Kentucky would do that. It would bring me out there a little bit quicker. Carolina, let me ask you something quickly. Next weekend is the race here in Kentucky. Am I correct?
No. The race was back in September.
Oh, it was September 14th, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. And my man won his second one there, Austin Dillon. Next week they go to Charlotte to race in the Chase, the only one at night. And today they got one of my favorite places to race, Talladega.
There you go.
So
yeah,
Talladega. What's going to happen?
I hear Talladega is one of the better out there. Actually, my family member got out there last year for first NASCAR event and a type event ever. She said she enjoyed it. So, Carolina, I appreciate the call as always, and go Reds.
Go Yankees.
Carolina's coming in. I knew he was a Yankees fan. That's why I had to say that.
If the Reds go and they play against the Yankees in the World Series, we got a fighter's chance at it. I mean, I'll be happy if that happens.
If Yankees get there.
I know. That means the Kentucky and Yankees are always.
I don't want them to get there, though. That's what I'm saying.
Who would you rather get there? I don't know who I'd rather get there.
From the American League?
I don't want to ever have to go against
Baltimore.
CC. Okay, yeah.
Baltimore.
Okay, I can go Baltimore.
I want to ride John Renshaw out for 165 days once the Reds beat them in the World Series, if it can happen. That's what I want to do.
He probably would not be too upset if they made the World Series and lost to the Reds.
Yes, he would, because he knows how much shit he's going to get inside. You can't say that. Just wait. Just wait till the top.
Keep going.
Yeah, back there, a little slip up there. Oops. But yeah, the Reds.
Renshaw will be talking some smack to you if the Reds and the Orioles go against it in the World Series. We'll see.
It'll be interesting.
If the Reds make the World Series, I'm happy. I like our chances. I like Latos. I like Cueto. I like Homer. I mean, we got chances to go up against anybody with our rotation.
That's 3 weeks. What about tonight? Game 2, we're up 1-0. Bronson versus
Bumgarner.
Madison Bumgarner, who is a good pitcher. I'm feeling like we're going to take 2-0. I really do. I'm dead serious. Last night I didn't have this feeling at all. Today, I feel like the Reds are just going to come out 2-0. I'm a big Bronson guy.
I like Bronson too. I like how he's going to go out there and he's not going to be. You're not going to see any anxiety coming from him. He's going to be kind of just doing his thing like he always does. He might give up a few home runs in the first inning. I mean, you never know with Bronson. He gets rocked sometimes, but that's
only
okay.
against the Blue Jays.
No, you look at Bronson's career, he gives up runs. I mean, he's got a 3.74 ERA this year. He had a great year. At the end of the day, Bronson is going to end up, we're going to look back, he's like 35 years old now. We're going to say Bronson was a heck of a pickup. He pitches a ton of innings. He goes out there, he has that very kind of casual delivery. That he's able to pitch a ton of innings. He's a valuable guy. I'm not worried about throwing him out there tonight. I like having him there. We could easily win.
Yeah, I really do. I think the Reds will win. When you have Brandon Phillips, the key to the playoffs, him and Jay Bruce, in my opinion, obviously Votto's going to be Votto. Those are the two keys to the playoffs. I think Bruce being the biggest one. You get May Bruce hot for the month of October. That's scary for all of the opposing teams into playoffs. But when you have Brandon Phillips starting the game off, I believe he went 2 for 3, 2 for 4, 3 for 4. Regardless, he had 3 RBIs, huge RBIs, a couple late ones. He had obviously a 2-run homer to get it started. Brandon Phillips is my favorite Cincinnati Red.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. He plays, as good of defensive second baseman as there is in baseball. He seems to have great timely hitting. He just got pop in his bat, and he just brings energy to a team when they need it. He's there. Everybody's healthy right now. Things appear to be all kind of rolling on.
This is stolen 99-100.
Yeah, everything kind of dusty is past his mini stroke. I mean, everybody seems to be healthy. I mean,
it's all turning into the fine-tuned big red machine.
Let's go for a sweep.
Let's go for the sweep of the playoffs. Let's just say, sorry, guys. This is our town. We're bringing the title back to Cincy.
I see Madison Bumgarner is on the season, 16-11, 3.37 ERA. So, I mean, we're not going against any slouch tonight. He pitched 208 innings. That is a career high for him also. So, I mean, San Francisco's a pitcher's park. They've got good pitchers. I think we'll go against Lincecum tomorrow.
It is a pitcher's park, but we turned it into a Cincinnati Reds batter's park last night, which I love. 9 hits against Matt Cain starting. Couldn't ask for anything more, Kelly.
This is straight off the Reds' official website. I'm going to read a little excerpt from it real quick. If this is the way they dreamed it up, it was one of those weird late-night pizza kind of dreams. No moving buildings or talking animals. Let's see here. I'll move on past that. Interesting little intro there. Let's see. For the Reds, the weirdness took all of 8 pitches to set in Saturday night. No Reds pitcher had missed a start all season. So naturally, they lost their ace, Johnny Cueto, to back spasms, just 1 out and 2 strikes into the National League Division Series against the Giants. Forget the dream. This was a nightmare. It was. I was panicking. I was, when I saw Cueto was out, and then I saw LeCure coming in. I did not feel good I thought the Reds, were going to come in, it was going to be over, we're going to be out of the playoffs. This was a nightmare. You know what you were thinking in that moment when Cueto was hurt and hunched over, and the Reds were probably thinking it too. Oh no, and honest Brandon Phillips admitted to thinking to himself, we're cooked, we're done. And then you just saw guys like Phillips get a home run, and then everybody was smiling, and you saw Bruce, when he hit his home run, everybody was happy. I mean, it was this is a bunch of positive momentum. I know Joe Morgan is big on that type stuff, clubhouse-type chemistry, and this team seems to have it. When they're playing well, everybody's healthy. We didn't even get any real production from Joey Votto last night, I don't think. That's okay. Everybody, people are stepping up. Your boy Ludwig we've got the potential.
I love Ludwig. He's going to have a big game tonight.
We've got the potential to just really get things rolling, and you got to feel good as a Reds fan.
We're going to get Scott rolling, ching. He needs to get hot. If he's taking Todd Frazier's starting spot, the vet. I love Scott. I love Todd. But if he's going to be there, he has to perform. Otherwise, Dusty has to put the stud, the NL Rookie of the Year, Todd Frazier, in there.
I agree. Yeah, it's hard to really overanalyze any one game. But all Roland really did last night was he went 0 for 4 from the plate, struck out once, and he had a costly error. So, his Roland...
Scott Rowland does not get errors much either.
No,
he did have some good plays.
Historically one of the best defensive third basemen
in history.
In the history of, at least of modern baseball. It's hard to say.
Nobody's going to complain that we're saying
how many Gold Gloves has he won? Like 7?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Something like that. Roland is good. He's old, though, and he's injured. I don't know if he's injured now, but he's had a lot of injuries. Do you go and start Frazier now? Do you bail on Roland? What do you think?
The way I see, they usually do with the back-to-back type of game, especially when you just hit the road. They usually sit Roland, like that one of those games. But it being a night game on night game, I think Roland will probably be in the lineup when Todd Frazier will come back and play that first game in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Let the old man Scott rest off the plane trip, rest off a 2-game, especially if they win. If they go up 2-0, you're definitely going to see Scott Rolen take a breather. You definitely will see Scott Rolen take a breather. Kelly, I'm excited about this team. I know we're coming up against the break here. We're going to be talking to our man Farrell Elliott of the KFFSC.com. We're going to talk our fantasy football weekly. Get primed. We're just 2 hours away from kickoff. You need to get that fantasy team fixed. I'm 3-1 in KFFSC. Kelly, you're 2-2. We're both sitting pretty in our leagues. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that, but and he is a big Reds fan, so I'm sure we'll continue to. Our love of the Reds talk in the second hour.
You can't. That's one of the biggest stories in sports nationally.
It really is.
It's
the playoff baseball.
Yeah,
It's big. People, I know we talked to some people last night, like, I'd rather watch this football game behind me than watch baseball. Well, have fun watching Ohio State. Nobody cares about Ohio State.
If you're an Ohio State fan, you care. But
yeah, you care about not going to your bowl.
This is America's favorite pastime, and especially if you're a Reds fan, if you're a fan of the Louisville Bats, you got to support this team. I mean, this is an hour and a half away from us. I mean, this is potential to be some real big.
I mean, I know there's plenty of Cubs fans, plenty of Cardinals fans, and you got Cardinals in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I'd love to talk to Cardinals fans because we got two of the better teams in baseball playing 30 times a season against each other. Cardinals and Reds. I love the Cincinnati Reds. I know we continue to say that
probably beat that into the ground.
We do.
But I mean, it's big. This is the potential to be something real big.
I haven't been this excited.
Being that a lot of these guys, Votto, Chapman, Bruce, Cozart, Frazier.
Votto's even been in the stint.
Yeah, I mentioned Votto. He played for the Reds, for the Bats for a couple years. Yeah,
Corky Miller, who was on Jim Rome, I believe, the other day.
Deanna Navarro, he's on the roster.
Deanna Navarro,
he led the Bats in. He led the Bats in almost every offensive statistical category this year, and he made the roster over
Homer Bailey,
over the catcher. Yeah, Homer Bailey,
lifelong bat. You see him; he's up and down for 7 years. This is how I've known over the last 8 years that the Reds will be good. It's just when it's going to click. Obviously, it clicked in 2010. Last year was a downer year. But it's clicking now because all this young talent that was right here in Louisville is now in Cincinnati. And we knew, Kelly, it was going to happen. The pitching staff needed to come in, and as soon as the Reds brought Walt Jocketty in, I believe it was 3 years ago.
His emphasis on pitching, you're right.
His emphasis on the game, on how to just get your team to win. Mm-hmm. I knew it was the Reds' time. We're here.
He's made some bold moves.
He has.
He's done some things like locking up Joey Votto long term.
Huge.
Giving
Brandon Phillips more.
Yeah.
Keeping Aroldis. Don't ever get rid of Aroldis.
No, don't get rid of Aroldis. I mean, he traded away Yasmani Grandal, and so he's the catcher. And then who's the first baseman?
Votto?
No, the guy who we traded away.
Yadier Molina. Grandal and Yasmani Grandal and
the first baseman.
Yonder
Alonso, thank you. We gave up those guys in favor of a young pitcher, Latos,
and
who appears to be
Edison.
paying dividends. I mean, you got to say, and Edison, obviously Edison. So I mean, he went with the young arms who don't have a history of Tommy John surgery. He stuck with Arroyo. He let Harang go,
which was I loved Harang, but it was time for Harang to go.
Mm-hmm. He went with more of a youth movement. As much as any general manager in baseball is, I would argue. I mean, look at all the money he threw at Latos. Look at all the money he threw at Aroldis Chapman.
A lot of money going to Aroldis.
I mean, he is going all pitching, all youth.
Pitching wins.
Defense wins. He knows how to win World Series.
Offense sells tickets. Defense wins championships. Reds, you got it both. I can't wait. Tonight at 9:30, I believe, again, first pitch.
9:37.
You can't miss out. Next hour, we're going to talk to Farrell Elliott coming up against the top of the hour, talking fantasy football. But then we're going to get into a little bit of Louisville. Talk some Louisville football and maybe some basketball talk in the second hour. Stick with us. The Weekend Sports Buzz.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Would you yell it from the rooftops down?
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz, Hour 2, 1450 to sportsbuzz.com. Check us out. You can also give us a shout. Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line, 384-1450. And, of course, shoot us a text. The Lotus Gunworks text line, 414-1450. This segment, obviously, my man, the Big Freeze, Farrell Elliott, joining us every day at 11 o'clock. It's always brought to you by Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East. If you're playing fantasy football, which we all are, it's about a winning strategy. For this winning strategy, when you buy or sell a home, allow Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East, to put together a winning game plan for you. With interest rates near an all-time low, there's never been a better time to buy or upgrade. For personal attention, effective marketing, and results, contact Jamie Cox, 502-593-5454. Email him directly. That would be at Jamie at thederbycityrealtor.com. Again, Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East. We appreciate you helping us be on the air and helping us be in the best fantasy league of the world, the KFFSC. My man, the commissioner, Farrell Elliott. Good morning, sir.
Tyler, good morning, buddy. Interest rates are at an all-time low, but our deal is trying to find someone to loan us some money.
You're not kidding. Isn't that everybody's, game plan in life?
Well, if someone had loaned me some money, I would have gone immediately to Las Vegas and betted on the Cincinnati Reds.
You are not kidding, Farrell. Let's just start with that, Farrell. How about that 5-2 victory last night?
It's a 5-2 victory. I believe the Reds dispatched Matt Cain and the Giants quickly where they could really put their attention to fantasy football and put them out of lineup.
Yeah, I think you're right on the dot. I'm excited. I know you're a Reds fan. We all are. So the Reds are playing tonight. Yeah. You got to watch that out. I wanted to, mention this before we get into the fantasy talk. Today in 1984, Farrell, Walter Payton passed Jim Brown as the NFL's career rushing leader.
All right, that's a stat from way back in the day.
Yeah, we like to throw our stats out there. The history stats of big time guys. Walter Payton, obviously one of the best running backs. Did you ever get to see Walter play?
Sweetness.
I did see Walter play. Very early on in my career as a sports agent, I was very fortunate to have a Chicago Bear client during their ascension to the Super Bowl, and it taught me a lot about what winning football was all about. To have a certain locker room, to have a feel, to have a vibe around a team. That team was made up of characters. They were great guys. Still to this day, I have a close relationship with Richard Dent and some of the players from that club. And it's just very exciting. I was good friends with Walter's brother, Eddie. It's another SEC school that passed on the greatest running backs ever, Walter Payton, University of Mississippi, because Walter was too small.
The old infamous "you're too small" gig. Obviously, a lot of people have proven that one wrong. Anyways, we got Farrell Elliott on the line, KFFSC commissioner. Farrell, let's get right into it here. You sent me the text. Plenty to talk about. Let's start off a little locally. We got the Indianapolis and the Packers here.
Indianapolis and the Packers, guys. Indianapolis is just beat up in the secondary. Feeney's a game-time decision if he's going to play at all. Let's get any Packer receiver we can into the lineup. Jennings will be setting this one out. So Cobb becomes more attractive. Jones becomes more attractive.
Yep.
Even your tight end, Finley, should possibly have one of his patented games where he breaks out. It's a big, big game for the Packer offense. Conversely, Indianapolis is going to have to play from behind in this game. Expect a fourth quarter surges from Avery and perhaps even T.Y. Hilton. This game is big fantasy development offensively for your Packers early and for your Colts late.
T.Y. Hilton, Kelly, a name that you might know.
Thanks, Tyler.
You're just welcome. Remind you about that FIU loss last year. Like you mentioned, there are some big-time inactives. Greg Jennings being, in my opinion, the biggest one. Ruled out also Lance Moore from down in New Orleans. Hakeem Nicks still out. Peyton Hill is still out. Alex Smith, the tight end, not the quarterback. He is out. Another guy who's big-time, Farrell, I wanted to mention him, Rob Gronkowski. He is questionable. Are you hearing anything about the old Gronk?
He'll play. He'll catch 10 passes. That's New England just playing with our minds once again.
They don't need to do that because he's on my team. Also, you want to mention San Diego at New Orleans. That is a big game for the Saints, of course, being, the record they are at. In a strange case of one guy I added to my team last week, Jackie Battle.
Jackie Battle. It is a strange case of Jackie Battle. I watched the waiver wires in the last 2 weeks as owners climbed all over each other, making bids, some of them as much as $500 of their fantasy dollars.
Wow.
To move forward with Jackie Battle, a player that I had to go back in my memory. I actually remember now meeting Jackie Battle, having conversations with him back in 2007 when Jackie Battle was voted the MVP of the East-West Shrine game. And I remember seeing him that week. I met him in the hotel, and I said, yeah, you're the running back from University of Houston. He said, yeah. He said, I've I wanted to come out here and show them I could play tailback. They're going to play me at fullback. I said, well, maybe they'll give you the ball. And they did in the game. And it's interesting. There's a college all-star game, and it's the same issue this player's been looking at in his professional career. He started with Dallas as a free agent, got released, moved to Kansas City, made the team, and now is taking his act through free agency to San Diego. But what you've got here is a 29-year-old low-mileage running back who's a strong runner, a straight-ahead runner. Typical game last week, 39 yards rushing. He caught 4 passes, but he's only caught 14 passes in his entire career in the NFL. In other words, people have convinced themselves that Jackie Battle is going to be the number 1 running back San Diego Chargers. That's just not the case. San Diego Chargers are invested in Ryan Matthews, and even though they split carries last week, Ryan Matthews is the player that has to move forward for the Chargers to be a winning team and to continue in that AFC West. I don't expect a whole lot of Jackie Battle as we move through the season. He might still split some time and split some carries. He's become essentially the Michael Tolbert of the San Diego Chargers, and no one was spending half of their free agent funds to get in business with Michael Tolbert last year.
Now, I know I didn't spend $500. It only cost me $50, so it was a good little purchase.
Good move. That's a good move. He's a spot start player. He's a very valuable player. But just the difference between this player, when Jackie Battle hits the line, he's going to fall forward and pick up 4 yards. When Ryan Matthews has a hole, he'll make that one cut, and he'll be off to the races. And that's why the San Diego Chargers will go forward with Matthews over Battle.
Farrell, we're about 25% of the way. Well, we are, I believe, 25% of the way through most fantasy seasons. I know there's been some unexpected stuff going on. You know, the Saints. Who would have guessed the Saints haven't won a game yet? Overall, from a fantasy perspective, what is your take on the quarter mark of the season so far?
Well, you know, we get caught up, guys, in looking at fantasy points and production from certain players. And sometimes it helps just to peel out of that and look at the NFL statistics. And we sit there and we wonder, why is this such a crazy year? Because it truly has been a crazy year. We see probably the biggest disappointment in fantasy ball at quarterback position being Aaron Rodgers. Now, we expect he's going to get a chunk of that back today, and moving forward, you're going to be just fine with Aaron Rodgers. But right now, he's in the middle of the pack of fantasy scores. Guys, let me ask you this. Of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, who's thrown for the most touchdowns?
Good question. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I bet it's, since you're asking it, I'm guessing it's somebody that we wouldn't have guessed. Who is it?
Is it Joe Flacco?
It's your number 2 backup quarterback for every team. No one drafted him as a starter, and that's our favorite quarterback from Buffalo Bills.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There you go.
My backup in both my leagues.
Former Ivy Leaguer.
See, your backup has thrown 12 touchdowns this year. That's putting him way in front of players that we think of as being regular starting quarterbacks for our fantasy teams, guys like Cutler and Flacco, and middle-of-the-road guys like that. Eli Manning's knocking on his door, and Eli might surpass him because Eli has a much better matchup than Ryan does against San Francisco this week. You know, it's interesting. You guys have brought up Heath Miller to me, and I completely dropped the ball on that one. But Heath Miller's not dropping any balls. We've got only 4 receivers with 4 touchdown receptions this year. 3 of them are tight ends. 2 of them, Heath Miller is one. Scott Chandler is another from the Buffalo Bills. He's been one of the benefactors since David Nelson went out at the receiver position. Chandler's been the middle-of-the-field pass catcher for the Bills, and he's hauling in those Bills touchdown passes. So what we're looking at is a situation of players that we never thought of that in many cases, some of them would not even be drafted. Chandler, in most cases, was not a draft pick, who are now being added to rosters, and they're playing at the top of the fantasy scoring charts. So it's making for an interesting year. It makes every week and every play having a big potential to change your fantasy team.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you mentioned Fitzpatrick, and he's my backup. I have him starting this week because if I'm correct, Stafford and the Lions are on a bye. So on a bye, Farrell, Kelly actually doesn't have a kicker in his lineup today.
I made a mistake, and Tyler's calling me out for it. My starting kicker this week, Farrell, in the KFFSC League is Sebastian Janikowski, despite him being on a bye week.
Well, and the only listeners can count on this, and the only prediction they can take to the bank, Sebastian Janikowski will not score any points for your fantasy team this week.
Yeah.
But that's a mistake that happens. We've had veteran players go into the playoffs with one kicker, which is a very, very dangerous thing because if something happens to him, our free agency ends at the week 11. So if you're not prepared with two kickers for the playoffs, guys, if you go with one kicker and he pulls up lame, you're not going to advance very far because that kicker's got to get you 10 to 15. Hey, it's a 1 week deal, brother. We're going to make up for it on the flip side. I love Janikowski as a kicker. He's way down the productivity list this year, but he's going to get into form as the offense grows. He'll get some more chances in Oakland. So I sure wouldn't have wanted to release him. So at least you still got a great kicker on your roster.
There you go.
I agree, yeah, and you never know. It's a 1 week deal. I could still win. I know that in the KFFSC League, the total points is what matters, so I am really kicking myself because even if you lose, you want to get a lot of points, or if you win, you don't, what really matters is getting the total points.
We respect that head-to-head factor, but the whole thing about the league is scoring points, and that's why we have a wild card system that'll put you in the playoffs after week 13, weeks 14, 15, 16, give you a chance to win if you consistently scored well throughout the 11-week season, throughout the 2-week divisional playoff season. That's why your team is never really out of it. A lot of owners put a team together with good young players. You guys know who some of those good young players are, and you expect the team to come together towards the end of the year. It's just like you do in the NFL. The New York Giants get to 9-7, their team comes together in the playoff, and they win the Super Bowl. That's the same way that we've designed the KFFSC to make it entertaining for people to play.
Yeah, I was biting my nails over the week. I'm sitting at 3-1. Kelly's at 2-2. Our other guys, Matt and Brad, are struggling at 1-3. Me and Kelly are feeling okay, and we were trying to just figure out, exactly the playoffs. And I found out from Bacon Trevor Kelsey, your co-host, every Wednesday for the KFFSC Fantasy Hour, 12-1, that there's 4 teams of division make it to the divisional playoffs. I didn't know that. I thought there was only 2, so I'm very, very happy to know that I still have a legit shot considering I'm in third.
There you go. It's best record, most points, next best record, next most points. So that's how do you decide your 4 teams, and you guys need to be there. If you're not amongst those 4 teams, you'll continue playing in weeks 12 and 13 to pad your points and hopefully earn a wild card bid to the playoffs. And then that's when you start over with your average points. One score is week 1 through 11. Your second scores are week 12 and 13. That's why you want to really play good in weeks 12 and 13. And you get that point total to move you forward, and then it's a free-for-all for the next 3 weeks. So you guys position yourself and get that team ready to do well continually through the regular season. But you want a team in week 12 and 13 that's going to play well. So that's why a lot of the owners are looking at that schedule when they were doing the draft to try to guess on what week 12 and 13 matchups would be. What do you guys think of the Thursday night game?
The NFL Network, thank goodness, Insider, whoever it is now, Time Warner has hooked me up with that deal. I did pay attention to the Thursday night game. I was kind of busy. I was working a little bit, but it was interesting to me. It really was. I'm trying to pull up the box score here, Farrell. What did you see from this while this loads on my computer?
Well, in the Rams and Cardinals game, it was very exciting because it even though they didn't produce points, and even though the offenses were woeful, the defenses just took over, and you kept waiting for that one mistake, that one blown coverage, or that one receiver that could get behind the defense, and that's what happened with the Rams receiver Gibbons getting to the touchdown. But one of the things, I was listening to another talk show, and they were talking about how no quarterback could survive being sacked 8 or 9 times in a game, such that Kevin Kolb was.
Yeah.
with the Cardinals. Now, that was interesting because they didn't make the corrections to handle the sack. They didn't do the draw plays. They didn't throw the checkdowns. They keep trying to move the ball down the field. I didn't really understand what they were trying to accomplish because it was just like beating your head against the wall. Mm-hmm. So I thought about that. I thought about that quote. It said no quarterback could be sacked that many times and win. So I went back to Sunday's game where Matt Ryan was sacked 7 times by Carolina, but still put up a great win. You know, no matter what's happening, if you're a good ball player with what the defense is bringing you, if you're a good quarterback and you have a good team around you with good coaching, you can handle whatever the defense is bringing to you. And I just saw that as an interesting situation. And that's why, as a fantasy owner, I think that the guys should really give a lot of credit to trying to get in business with teams that are complete teams throughout the roster and have a complete and impressive and tried and true coaching staff that can make the changes during the games. Because that's what struck me about that game is coaches sticking to a game plan, and we had very little offense on either side of the ball.
Farrell, I know we're coming up against this break. I was on this past Wednesday. I was up at Bengals practice. I got to go in the locker room. Got to attend a practice with Montreal Jones. It was a great day. First time I've ever been into an environment like so. I couldn't have been happier. Got to meet a lot of the players, and whatnot. Got to see what really goes involved. One guy I got to talk to. Big time addition lately. A lot of people, drafted him in the bigger leagues, deeper leagues, but the guy that is maybe a basement league, Montreal Hawk, the old Hawk, just getting it done for the Bengals.
Well, that's great that you got that experience, and it's great that you enjoyed it, and I hope you have more of those throughout your career, and I hope you always keep that enthusiasm. What did you find most interesting about your communication with this player?
With Hawkins, I know, yeah. I know Kelly keeps saying it's Hawkins. That's his nickname, Kelly. You weren't there. You don't know. Me and him are boys, duh. No, Farrell, we'll be up there, I believe, almost every Wednesday. My man, Montreal Jones, former Tennessee, Louisville, great. Now he's got his power hour on our show. We'll be up there every Wednesday. I'm excited about that. We'll keep that. But what I noticed, the Bengals, what you mentioned earlier in our, the interview, you got to have a good team. You got to have that good locker room. The Bengals, those guys seriously enjoy being around each other. You go walk into the locker room and the music's blasting. The guys are cutting up. It was a fun time. And Hawk, he couldn't have been any more happy. He really was. He's excited, especially what he's doing this season. I expect the Bengals, Kelly. You're a Bengals guy. They made the playoffs last year in the wild card, 3-1. I was told they could play better, but they're looking pretty good. And I expect the Bengals, if they keep up this type of momentum, inside of the locker room and keep it on the field, I like their chances this season.
Well, if you guys remember in our very first show, we talked about the Cincinnati Bengals, and I told you that I was not excited about the law firm heading up there running attack, and I'm still not sold on him, but I'm very thrilled with the passing attack, and we knew that someone was going to emerge, and Hawkins has been wonderful. He's been a great scorer. He looks like a consistent fantasy player. I actually had a very tough lineup decision today. I had to choose one of 4, and I won't bore you with the players. Hawkins was in the mix with Garcon and Stevie Johnson and guys like that, and I really, in my heart, I really want to give him the play because he's what we've talked about. He's a young player with explosive skills, and we really don't know how good he can get. But the players in Cincinnati on the offensive side of the ball are getting really good really quickly. And I wish I had known you were going up there because I would have brought your attention to the defensive lineman. He's actually playing defensive tackle up there. I think it's number 95. I forget his last name.
Is it Geno Atkins?
Yes, this is one of the most exciting interior linemen that I've seen in the game for a lot of years. And it makes me want to watch the Bengals closely and perhaps get into the fantasy business with their defense. And I'm really thrilled that you guys have brought Montreal Jones in. There's a player that struggled to find a gig in professional football, and Lord knows if Montreal can do one thing, it's talk.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make sure you guys have more than one microphone in there because Montreal will grab that bad boy and run with it.
He will. He's very good. Glad to have him on. I'm glad to be part of his show. Farrell, I appreciate you taking an extra, time there, an extra 10 minutes or so. Every Sunday, we'll be talking to Farrell. And, of course, Wednesday is 12 to 1, the KFFSC Fantasy Hour. Him and Trevor Beck and Kelsey get you on your Wednesdays, your injury reports, updates, your midweek updates. So tune in. Farrell's great. We love Farrell. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your Sunday.
Good luck, guys. Have a great win today.
Farrell Elliott, KFFSC.com. You can check it out. Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship. Excuse me. So, it's hard to get out there. Sometimes I think of KFC and their chicken because they are sponsored by it. If you remember, we were out at the casino. That was a fun event. But, yeah, the Bengals can't go. You're a huge Bengals fan.
Huge Bengals fan. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I like the chances of going. It's at Paul Brown Stadium today, playing against the Dolphins. What I'm looking for is a little progress on the defensive side of the ball. Farrell mentioned Geno Atkins, who I agree with him. You could make a case he's one of the best young defensive tackles in the NFL. He's recording a lot of sacks. I think he has 5 sacks so far this season. We know that the offense and Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, that they're doing some great things, some very exciting things. Even Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. I mean, they're mixing it. It's obviously it's a Jay Gruden kind of West Coast style offense where they get a lot of passes going and everybody's getting involved in the offense and moving the chains, scoring touchdowns. I'm looking for the defense to step up this week.
I actually have the Bengals defense in one of my leagues. They did good for me last week. I'm excited to Kelly, when I was up there, I know I said this yesterday, these guys are ridiculously huge. You're either 5 foot, 230 pounds of pure raw muscle, just gigantic little short guy, or you're 6'7", 6'8", Jermaine Gresham, 260 pounds, giant. I stood next to Anthony Davis. I stood next to, Patrick Patterson, Big Atlantis and whatnot during, back in the day. Big, height is big, but mass and height is ridiculously big. And now I see why, I already knew it. Everybody knows it's man's league, but these guys are huge.
You're right. In the tight end position, it's an interesting thing. I saw Shannon Sharp one time in person, and Farrell probably would have enjoyed talking about this too, because you see a tight end, an NFL tight end, you see him in person, Tony Gonzalez,
huge.
Any of those, they just got the broadest shoulders. They're about, like you said, 6'5".
Their arms are as big as my
huge
body.
Guys. One of these guys for the Bengals is Michael Johnson. So far this year,
he
has 4 sacks. He's 6'7", 270.
I give him 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, he's every bit of it.
He is
a monster. And they've got, Carlos Dunlap. They got a lot of, you're right, big guys on the defensive line. Carlos Dunlap is listed at 6'6", 280.
That's huge.
They're just giants. You're completely right. D'Amato Pecco is 6'3", 322.
He's very quick off the snap. Oh, my goodness.
You're right. They've got a lot of talent. I'm looking for them to maybe shut down Tannehill. And Hartline, I know, actually leads the NFL in receiving yards.
That'd be a good one to bring up for Farrell.
Thus far this year. So, the Bengals will have, believe it or not, have their hands full today with an explosive Dolphins offense, I guess, with Tannehill throwing to Hartline and Reggie Bush. But I'm looking for some progress defensively today.
Kelly, can I say I'm slowly starting to like your Bengals?
I love it.
Can I be maybe a Browns and Bengals fan? Is that legal?
I'm fine with that. I support the Browns also. I don't have a problem with that.
Great.
Jump on the Bengals bandwagon. Montreal obviously is. Let's become the Bengals station. I love it. I am a Bengals fan through and through. I've just been waiting. If someone wants us to embrace the Bengals just like we've embraced the Reds, I am all for it.
Montreal Jones has Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 to 1, right here on 1450, the Montreal Jones Power Hour. Me and him get it going live. We have some great guests. You want to hear some great guests coming in? Pac-Man Adam Jones is going to be on this week. Hopkins will be on this week. We're working on Randy Moss. We're working on anybody and everybody.
Wait. Who did you say? Randy Moss.
Well, we're working on it. We're working on the best guest you could get, is what I'm telling you.
Big-time NFL names. When you played for 2 years for the University of Tennessee, then you went through and you played 2 years at Louisville. Then you went through, what was it called, Michael Irvin's camp, where he became good friends with Andrew Hawkins. Montreal Jones has some great connections, whether it be with Michael Irvin. When you're friends with Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
Or, you know him.
It's gonna be great.
He knows a lot of people. Montreal Jones was a huge acquisition for the station. Dugan, great job.
Yeah.
And I'm couldn't be happier that we are becoming a Bengal station.
Let's get to this break. If you want to give us a call, Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline 384-1450. Also shoot Adam a text. Lotus Gun Works text line 414-1450. And of course, Coming up next here at the noon hour in 30 minutes, those weekend golf guys, my man John Ashton and his crew getting it going. I got to hang out with them yesterday at Glen Mary. Enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the hell out of that show. I really did. It was fun environment. We got there is John Ashton, the cheater. He cheated. He talked about Scramble cheating yesterday. He is the Scramble champion, Jerry Scramble for ALS yesterday. We'll let John, talk about that a little bit more. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
My name is Optimus Prime. We are autonomous robotic organisms from the planet Cybertron. We are here looking for the Allspark, and we must find it before Megatron.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. Little Megatron intro there. I do like that intro. I think we used it yesterday, too. We could use it every show. I'm not going to lie. The Weekend Sports Buzz, myself, Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick, every Sunday, 10 to noon. Of course, you can catch us every Saturday, myself and Mark Blankenbaker, whenever he's in town, not on the road, every Saturday, 9 to 11. Yeah, let's get into a little bit of your Cardinals here. Kelly, I want to 5-0. You're very happy with your 5-0. It wasn't the prettiest 5-0 at times, but it's 5-0, and that's all that matters in the long run. You have 7 games left. Your tougher stretch of the schedule is coming up. Cincinnati left. Very tough schedule. Cincinnati's coming up. In my opinion, that's your loss. Rutgers later in the season. You still have South Florida. Pittsburgh, they're iffy. They're a night in, night out type of team. What are your thoughts of the season and looking ahead?
Well, our next game is this upcoming Saturday. We have that weird 11 a.m. kickoff.
I hate those kickoffs. It's like a Notre Dame over when we were watching that 9 a.m. game. At
Pittsburgh, and you're going to get a kick out of my take on the Panthers losing yesterday at Syracuse. I don't like it. I'm nervous about this game next week.
The Pitt's game?
Yeah.
It's at Pitt, right?
It's at Pitt, 11 a.m.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know. I mean, they're a team that, they're not consistent. They knocked off, which I know you're going to say, something, whatever. They beat Virginia Tech, who's
down.
They're down.
This year they're no doubt down.
But at the same time, I mean, that was a nice win.
Well, who's 5-0? Who's your MVP so far? Is it Bridgewater? Is it the offensive line? Are you giving out a committee off MVP? Is it Sonoris Perry? Who is it?
Yeah, maybe Sonoris Perry, I guess. That's a good question. I haven't given much thought to that.
I like putting you on a spot.
I'll say my MVP so far, maybe I may have to give it to some of the offensive linemen.
Just a committee type of thing?
Yeah, I like Jamone Brown. If I'm looking for one guy.
Mario?
Mario. You can never underestimate the importance of a guy like senior center, 5th-year senior Mario Benavides, who will be an NFL player.
Yeah, definitely.
We've had some interesting games where whether we're playing in a pool like last week or, the week before where the headsets went out. You kind of got to ad-lib. You got to go and just kind of do your thing and somehow come out with the win. Like you said, hasn't been pretty, but they managed to do it. And the communication between the center, Mario Benavides, and the quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, it's very important.
It is. Teddy, what I noticed last week, Kelly, he didn't wear his glove for the first time. He wasn't allowed to because of the torrential downpour. Obviously, it would have been an extra 3 pounds on his hand. But it was just odd. It's the first time he's ever not wore his glove because he's got that Ben Roethlisberger type of game where he does wear a glove on his throwing hand. Most quarterbacks do not do that. But I've thrown with the glove on. I've thrown with the glove off. I really see no difference. It's just a personal preference. Whatever you can do, you can do. 7 games to go, Kelly. Where are your? Is it Cincinnati? Is it this Pittsburgh game, or is it both those games you're going to lose? Are you going to go 7-0? Are you going to go 6-1? What bowl? If you 11-1, Kelly. Say you go 11-1, you lose 1. It's B Pittsburgh. B that game Cincinnati.
Orange Bowl.
11-1 Orange Bowl with this schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Sure, why
Big
not?
East champions, right? You do the Big East champs.
Why not?
See, that's just why I don't like BCS. Just because
I wouldn't like it, and this is all fan. My take as a Cardinal fan. I'm trying to remove this from this statement. I wouldn't like it either if I were you, right?
Sure.
I mean, you guys have this toughest.
Kentucky go to the bowl game with your schedule. I'm not saying they go to the Orange Bowl, but they go to the bowl
has a
game.
much easier schedule than Kentucky. They do.
Kentucky's 5 losses have all been to what could be ranked teams if Western, in my opinion, will hit that top 25 poll.
Wow. I don't know about that. I mean, we'll see.
Why not? They put Houston in there last year. I could see Western compete with Houston. Yeah, they had a great quarterback.
So it could happen. Yeah, I've seen crazier
It might not
things.
be this week. It could be that next week. But they will crack it because they're not. I don't see Western losing. Who are they going to lose to? The rest of the way. I think they're going to run that Sun Belt.
It could happen. But I agree with you. Louisville has an easier schedule. If they go 11-1, though, I mean, they're going to a BCS Bowl.
Now, you probably it'd be what, ACC or what's the Orange Bowl? Who'd you play? Who'd you beat in Orange Bowl, Kelly? In 2008.
Wake Forest.
So ACC.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure it'd be the ACC team. You probably win. You wouldn't lose NC State.
It could
again.
still be. I mean, Florida State, something like that, is not a cakewalk. Even though they lost.
It's true. I do forget
even though
State.
they lost.
I think they'll be in a better bowl.
I'm not going to say anything. I mean, they lost. So I mean, we'll see.
We will see, but that's another thing. Little basketball talk here before we get to this last break. Louisville's practice, we mentioned it, is Saturday. You'll be there. Kentucky's Big
First
Blue
scrimmage.
Big Blue Madness is this weekend as well. I know we're just like just a minute here. I wanted to. How excited are you for basketball, knowing your Cardinals in football is 5-0? I mean, is it kind of put on the back burner? Or is this or is this your year of I'm a Card fan? All you other Card fans are really excited about it all.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Are you looking forward to basketball season, or is it more the next 7 weeks, 8 weeks?
Both. I have plenty of capacity for excitement in my life. I'm so excited.
You gonna make room for steeplechase?
Oh. No. I'm excited about the Reds. I'm excited about Louisville football. I'm excited about Louisville basketball. I'm looking forward to November 17th when Seth Mayhem Mitchell, the best American heavyweight boxer. I'm looking forward to a boxing match. I have all sorts of potential.
You said
Are you asking me if I have excitement
your
overload?
Fanhood. I'm testing your fanhood.
Yeah, are you testing my fanhood?
Testing your fanhood.
No, I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff. And basketball, preseason, according to Dick Vitale, number one. Mm-hmm. Super excited about that. Mm-hmm. Super excited about the potential of Louisville going 10-2, 11-1. I mean,
it's a big time.
Where's your question at?
I was just trying to figure out how you going to juggle.
Can't wait till the Bengals play.
I'm saying, are you're a basketball guy? A little bit more football. If I know you, just a little bit, because you're a big Rick Pitino fan.
I support Rick Pitino through and through. I do.
You're a slightly bigger basketball fan, and that's what I'm wondering. There's a lot of people that
Louisville is a more successful basketball program.
Oh yeah,
I grew up. I guess you would have to say a little bit more of a basketball fan, but it's not much.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're 5-0 for football. The basketball.
What are you getting at?
I'm trying to explain, but you won't let me.
Okay.
You're 5-0.
Okay.
Your basketball team is preseason number 1. You got a great chance at doing good things. It's good for Louisville, right? That your football team's playing so good, it gets to allow the basketball team to not have as much I guess you want to say coverage on them. Not coverage from the local media as us, for example, our website, or maybe the other local media. But there's this allow them to get into their own rhythm, their own practices, while your football team gets it all. It's hard to explain to get out.
It's interesting that there's an undefeated football team and a preseason number 1 basketball team. A lot of excitement. I mean, that's not common.
It helps Louisville basketball is what I'm trying to say.
Because a little less pressure on them.
You gets to take the pressure off early season.
Okay.
All the early season talk is going to be about your football team still, because you're undefeated. So that allows Rick Pitino, hell of a coach, hell of a team, to get a little bit better earlier, which they usually are slower earlier.
And you know that Rick has those interesting tactics too, doesn't he? He I'm not going to say he ever throws a game. He doesn't. But, maybe an early season loss that nobody, expected. Patino has that type of, that happens. He uses it for motivation early. So maybe there could be a scenario where the Cards lose an early season game.
But it's
the fans aren't jumping on it on
That's
the
what I was kind of trying to get
I see
out.
what you're getting at.
It allows Louisville basketball to get into your mold, to get rolling.
It's hard to follow exactly what Pitino's method to his madness is.
A lot of madness.
Do I doubt it? I don't doubt it at all. He knows it better than
you
me.
are a Kelly Rick Pitino fan, Patrick.
I am Rick Pitino fan. I support him. He knows what he's doing. If anybody out there, this is a different topic.
He does know what he's doing.
If anybody out there thinks he doesn't know what he's doing, call in. I'm sorry. You don't know what you're talking about. Rick Pitino is the godfather when it comes to getting a college basketball team to do and to buy into his system, to get rolling at the right time. He knows what he's doing better than anybody.
He's a great coach.
I mean, Coach K, somebody like that. I mean, obviously, Cal won the title this past year. But if you doubt Rick Pitino at all, call us. 502-384-1450. If you're going to doubt him now, let us know.
If you're going to doubt him now,
one of those fans that's going to wait till he loses 2 games in a row in the middle of the season, and then you're going to say you want him gone,
just like last year,
I want to hear from you now.
Just like
because
last
you're
year.
out there, and you make me sick.
Oh, he's heated. Let's get to that final break. 384-1450. Call in. Kelly wants to talk to you. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line at 384-1450.
Final segment of the Weekend Sports Buzz here on 1450 AM. It's been a good show so far. A lot of good talk. A lot of Reds talk today. Obviously, the Reds are 1-0 in the first round of the playoffs. Took out the Giants last night. We talked to Farrell Elliott, KFF SC commissioner, one of my favorite guys out there. I love talking to Farrell about fantasy football. Kelly, some good Louisville talk there last segment. And so we got through the UK talk earlier. I forced you to get through it. And I'm the Kentucky fan, so I'm going to talk Kentucky.
I don't mind talking about Kentucky and the likelihood. I mean, I'm not trying to be a prick either. I don't.
It's fine.
That they're looks like they're probably going to go 2-10.
They might, and we're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
We'll talk about that next week. But I do, Louisville, they do play next week against Pittsburgh. Kentucky has Georgia, I believe, if I'm correct.
Sounds right.
Georgia, I believe, next weekend. So
that's just so tough.
Just no fun for Kentucky. No fun,
not so much.
No fun for Kentucky. I did want to ask you. You said you're going to be at the Louisville practice.
Yep.
What time is that?
4 o'clock.
Okay. I was trying to figure out, is this a time constraint with the football game?
All Louisville, all day next Saturday.
Louisville's on the road anyways, and they're at 11, so it's no constraint. There you go. I was just wondering, what was going on. Big Blue Madness, obviously, Friday night. Going to be a lot of people in Lexington. I shall be there. I'm excited to get to go to watch the defending national champions. Big Blue Madness. It's going to be fun.
A lot to look forward to there. I mean, what do you think of, I know we talk a little bit about Louisville, but what do you think, what are your expectations going into this season for the Kentucky basketball team? Is this going to be a down year?
No.
Is Nerlens Noel going to have a similar defensive presence to, obviously he's not going to be Anthony Davis. He's not going to be blocking three-pointers like nothing that anyone has ever seen before.
You don't know that. Supposedly he's a better shot blocker.
But he's not a guard.
He's not a guard, but
he's not going to be
a guard.
I know.
When you have Brian Harrow.
Do you think who has more block shots this year, Gorky or Nerlens Noel?
I'm going to say Gorky. Why? Okay. Because he had a lot last year, and he's a great shot blocker. It's a big deal. He might have 150. It's a lot of blocks. I mean, he had over 100 last year. Nerlens will be. I mean, it'll be Gorky, Nerlens in the top. I think Gorky will lead the nation. Nerlens will be in that top 3-4. He really will. I'm excited. Really, I really am excited. A lot of people are downplaying this year. Oh my gosh, we just won a national championship. They can't do it again. These guys aren't as good. This blah 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 da da da. No, this team. Remember Brandon Knight's year? Oh, they're not as good. They went to the Final Four.
Yeah, they did more than
they did more than the John Wall
than the John Wall and Boogie Cousins.
But this is what I pictured this team a little bit better than that year than Brandon Knight's year. I really do. Ryan Harrow. This is now his basically second 2.5 years in Lexington without playing a game. Basically, he knows the offense just like better than any point guard coming into Kentucky. I mean, obviously, so that's a positive.
Harrow because he's
already been there for a year and a half.
What about the other guy who transferred?
Julius Mays, senior. A lot of you need this senior experience. He'll be off the bench.
They've got it now.
They got
he can light it up.
Kyle Wiltshire, plenty of experience. He'll be there, he might be there for 4 years. That'd be awesome. Willie Cauley-Stein, big 7-footer. I'm excited, Kelly. I'm excited for the Bermuda Triangle of basketball here with Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky. Let's get to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line before we do get to the end of the hour. Dave is on the line.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just want to know, first of all, Kentucky plays at Arkansas next Saturday, not Georgia.
That's correct.
But tell me, what's your take on this coaching change at Kentucky? Is there going to be a new coach into the year?
We kind of talked about that earlier in the show. I'm on the fence, Dave. I feel like obviously the numbers and attendance are down. I mean, when you're under 50,000 and they're faking 49, in my opinion, that's not good. That right there will cause for a change. But Joker has a lot of young talent. He has a good relationship with Mitch Barnhart. I'm on the fence. I think he is right now. Yes, he's gone, but I could see him staying around. What do you? I mean, you obviously a Kentucky fan, Dave, but do you want Joker to stick around?
First of all, they were under 40,000 yesterday. Okay, under 50 last week.
Yeah.
I would be okay with Joker staying around, but I don't know he's going to get a chance to do it because we just have murderers row of a schedule.
I know.
I'd like to know, we played yet another undefeated team yesterday. It's three weeks in a row playing an undefeated team who's in the top 20. And yesterday, Florida took care of LSU, and South Carolina beat the heck out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd be okay with keeping Joker because with all these with the injuries this season to the quarterback position, I just feel like Max Smith was just a machine for the first few weeks before he got hurt. But I do believe that empty seats. If Joker's job is gone, it's going to be because of empty seats. I put it with one qualifier. That is, assuming that Kentucky, there's no reason to assume or expect at this point, but after Georgia, we've got 5 winnable games in Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Missouri, Stanford, and there's one more. I think I don't remember. No, I guess Arkansas is one of them.
Yeah, Arkansas would be that one this week. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, if we got to those 5 games, it's possible that you win 3 of those games, and if you do, then that's 4 wins, and with the promise of young, improving players, but those empty seats are really hurting Joker.
Yeah, I totally agree, Dave. I appreciate the call, my man.
Sounds like a pretty realistic take, in my opinion.
Very realistic.
I mean, you're
take.
kind of between a rock and a hard place as a Kentucky football fan right here. You can say, fire Joker, bring someone else in who's going to win games. Who's going to win games with this schedule? Kentucky.
I'm glad Dave called because I feel
That's
like
a
me and
good call.
Dave have the same kind of standpoint here to this. The numbers are with the fans. Like I said, a fake 49,000 fans. I believe they said 49. There's no way they're 49. It had to be under 40, like Dave mentioned. The numbers, in my opinion, will bite Joker. That will be the doom of Joker. You can't
control that.
Bring in under 40,000 fans to a 70,000 seat capacity stadium. You just can't. 50,000. I mean. Going back to, I believe it was 06, maybe 05, there wasn't under a 50,000 attendance. Now there's been like 3 weeks in a row, Kelly, 4 weeks in a row. It's not a good thing. So I think Dave's right on there. It's the numbers, but if Joker stays, it's the young talent that's going to save him. It's this what could end up being the number 1 schedule strength in the nation could save him. You might lose all games to almost ranked teams. I'm going to stick with it. Western will be ranked, Kelly. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be the next week, but it'll be that next week because they're going to stay undefeated. I don't see Western losing. I just don't. The Joker, it's up in the air. It really is. I know. And another Kentucky fan might call in and say he's gone. He's gone. Nope, get him out. Well, that's a lot of hatred. That's a lot of just pissed off. 1-5.
Tough to argue with that too.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bad situation. That's why it's not so much a hot topic to talk about on the radio. It's good that we're discussing it. I think. Not a lot of positivity. I kind of feel sorry for Joker. I mean, I don't. I
like Joker. He's a good guy. He loves Kentucky.
He's
the
Kentucky
Wildcats
through and through.
So I mean, it's going to be a very, very tough, I guess, December for Mitch Barnhart and a little decision making coming up there because obviously, if its season's over, you got to make up your mind there because if you do go elsewhere, you got to go out and get a new guy. Who's that new guy going to be?
In 3 years down the road,
no.
Are we going to be saying the same things about that new guy?
That's what
probably.
I'm saying.
Continuity is very big in college sports and everything, and I preach that all the time. I feel that I really do. The Bengals, for example, have stuck with Marvin Lewis through some down years, and I know that's professional, and we're comparing it to SEC football, which isn't really that much of a step below professional football. I mean,
not the Bengals of the early 2000s, that's for sure.
No, they're better.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, continuity is huge, and that when they stuck with Rich Brooks, it ended up showing that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was about to say,
it's a negative.
Why
situation.
not go to Rich Brooks and say, who would
come back?
No. Who should Kentucky hire? Why don't you get some input from a guy who knows how to win?
Doesn't he like Joker?
He loves Joker, but he knows what's going on. If it gets down to it, if they let go of Joker, then they go to Rich. I'd go to Rich if I was Mitch and give me an input. Give me who do you think? Just because you are Rich Brooks, you know a little something. You know a good coach. Maybe I don't know. You know,
it's tough. It's a tough situation Joker's in. I think if Joker is the same guy that you hired when you believed that he was the guy who was cut out for the job, he knew a lot of the recruits, he has all this continuity, I'd say stick with him. I think it'd be a very admirable thing to do, in a sense, to stick with them and kind of ride it out. And if they win, 5 games next year, I know we're looking way ahead now. You got to say that
they could still win some games this year.
They've hit the bottom.
They can still win some games this year. They have, but it's the young talent that could save Joker. I don't know. We'll talk a lot more about this next weekend. Of course, this week got Mason Myers in the morning. Check them out. Montrell Jones Power Hour Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 to 1. Coming up next from 12 to 2. Those weekend golf guys. John Ashton, Scramble champion, going to get it going. I'm sure he'll talk about that. How he cheated. It's going to be fun, Kelly. Good show.
Good show. Good stuff. Go Bengals. Go Reds.
Go Reds tonight, 9:30. Going for 2-0 over to Gigantes. It's going to be a fun night. Thanks for listening. For Kelly Patrick, I'm Tyler Boyd. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.